Hi, this week I want to talk about common errors I see with APA format since the final papers are due soon. And so I have this list and I will post this list I'm working from. These are comments that I often make in your papers. Um, well, I don't mark this, but you should be consistent with the number of spaces between your sentences. Should either be one or two. Longer manuscripts tend to use two, but it should be consistent. One I see a lot is use a comma before the word which when it introduces a non-restrictive phrase. You need to do that. Already covered spaces. APA writing style uses double spacing. It also uses a jagged right margin, so make sure to remove the right align margin function. And sometimes I see that in papers. You always indent the first sentence of a new paragraph 5 to 7 spaces. Um, in writing, normal writing, in seriation, where you list two things or more, you don't normally use a comma after the last entry before the word and. But APA format does use the comma, and especially in text citations when there's three or more authors. So make sure that you use a comma when you're doing seriation. Level 1 heading uses upper and lower case settings. I actually, it says see page 62 here, but I'll have at the end of this, you'll see I actually have the format for headings. Let me bring this up here. Capitalize each word in a level 1 or level 2 heading. Numbers, if you're representing units of time, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, use the number 3. 3 people, spell it out. So for 9 and lower, you'd spell it out. 10 and higher, use the number no matter what. When it comes to quotation marks, punctuation is always included inside of the quotation marks. And you can set up MS Word, the advanced options, it will sort for that. All you have to do, there's a drop down box, you just say inside, and it will check that for you. If you do a direct quote in your paper, you have to include the page number. If there is no page number, like it's a website, then you list the paragraph number in the citation. Use of the word and, it is used in the text. So if you have multiple authors, you would use, and you're using them in the sentence, you would use the word and then you put the year in parentheses. Inside the citation or in the references, you always use the ampersand. So that's the rule between and the ampersand. Also, in-text citations are included as part of the sentence. So you always move whatever the punctuation was at the end of the sentence. You just move that to the end of the citation. So the next one's the same thing. Sometimes I see people put a period at the sentence and then after the citation. That's not correct. The word internet is considered a proper noun, so you capitalize it. Quotation marks. Use double quotation marks. And they're used, obviously, for direct quotes. They can also be used to emphasize a word in the text, or you could use italics to emphasize a word. Single quotation marks are used to show quoted content within a quote. So that's the only time you use single quotation marks. If you start the sentence with a number, you have to spell it out no matter how big the number. All right, when you're describing research from an article, it's past tense because it's already been conducted and published. Also, here's a common one I often see in the references the city New York without the two-letter abbreviation for the state. And what caused that is in the 5th edition of APA, it said if the city was common, like New York or Boston, there was no need for the state abbreviation. But in the 6th edition, when it came out, they went to a standardized format. They said, hey, no matter where the city is, how common, include the two-letter abbreviation for state. And that is a two-letter abbreviation, so do not spell out the state. Now, in a book title, you capitalize the first word, proper nouns, and the first word following a colon, and you place the title in italics. For articles, you capitalize the first word, proper nouns, first word following a colon, and it's not italicized. The journal title is italicized, and every word in a journal title is capitalized, except for of. Here's one that a lot of people have difficulty with because it's they typically get away with it. They list, there's no DOI or they don't look up the DOI. And they list the URL from the library that comes out of the database like EBSCOhost or Sage. And that's not correct. According to the APA manuals from page 191, if there is no DOI, then you place the name of the journal in a Google search, get for the home page. So it'll be like training and development homepage. And it'll take you to the home page, and then you copy that URL and use it in a retrieval statement. And URL is always listed as part of a retrieval statement. And there's no colon after the word from when you say retrieve from. It's just retrieve from, lists the URL. Also, APA said there's really no need to put the date anymore unless it really matters that you need the date in order to find the source. All journal articles have to have either a DOI or a retrieval statement, one of the two. And so I'll show you the website for looking up DOIs here in a second. Journal titles, volume number goes in italics. And of course, you capitalize the first word following a colon in an article title. Here's the URL for looking up DOIs. It's pretty good. It works. Rarely will I find a DOI that it didn't list. And if it didn't list it, I usually didn't spell something right. I've also noticed that if I just Google an author's last name and the article title without the year, typically it'll come up where I can get the information I need to reference it. All right, a couple examples of format here. This is our text. Or wait, I'll take that back. This is the text for 8711. Some of you are familiar with that. And this was a text for 8721. But the format is just an example of format. And that's for a book. Here is the example for headings. And as you can see, it lists the headings in your class papers. I doubt that you would ever go beyond level 3. Most of you should only have to use level 1 and level 2 headings. So these are the formats on the headings. And so I wanted to bring this up and try to reduce some of these APA errors before you submit your final paper. Thanks.